morning. Today is Thursday, April 3rd, and we have a lot of computer work to do today. Yesterday was a 9-hour day with a construction company where I had to meet with 3 new people, shoot talking heads, gather B-roll, all for their social platforms. So this was one of the first shoots where I was lead producer and videographer. I was the point of contact for all of this. I had an hour of travel with 20 to 40 minutes in between each location, and there was 3 locations and an hour of travel back. So today I'm going to run you through everything that I do the day after a super long and stressful shoot day. We have a really good time frame on this shoot, so today is going to be a lot of organizational work. I want to make the editing process, which will take place tomorrow throughout the next week, go as smooth as possible. So I'm going to run you through everything that I do to organize footage, get everything set so that editing is a breeze. The deliverables on this project are going to be 3 different talking head videos, as well as maybe mixing in some just straight B-roll and other things that they will be able to use on their social platforms for weeks to come. We also wanted to do this project now because it was the early phase of a lot of their projects, so we'll be able to do a before and after for them later. I think the time frame for the first deliverable is mid next week, so I have a good amount of time to edit and do all of that. With that said, I want to make sure that the editing process will go as smooth as possible, so we have to start with organizing the footage. All right, so we are now at the desk. I have just taken the time to dump all of the footage off of our SD cards onto our SSDs, and I'm going to show you my folder structure so you can stay as organized as I tried to be. It doesn't always work, but we try. So the first thing for our folder structure is to name the overall folder. I always do the client name. And then we do 00 up to 05 at the beginning of everything so it stays in the order that we want. First is exports. This is where everything for that client will be exported, and inside I will usually do month by month to make sure we keep track of how many we have sent each month and everything like that. Inside footage is where I will put the date of every shooting day. So this was the first shoot day with this client, and it's just going to be 4/2. And then in the footage, we have house 1, house 2, house 3. Inside each of the houses, we have the B-roll organized and talking head organized. This takes, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes to do, and it makes the world of a difference, especially when you are backing up and you start to get a lot of clients. It is so much easier just to know on this day, the talking head is in this folder. On this day, the B-roll is in this folder. And this house, this B-roll, this house, this B-roll. After you do all of that, I take it into our editing software, which you guys know I have recently switched over to Final Cut Pro. So when you open Final Cut Pro, this is what it will look like. I start with our library name is always going to be client and date. Inside footage, I drop everything in footage. Final Cut Pro doesn't have the best folder system, so I wasn't able to separate it from B-roll and A-roll, but what I was able to do is upload all the A-roll, and then I take just everything I just uploaded, go in, and I assign an audio roll for A-roll or B-roll. This keeps it organized, and when you're looking at the timeline, you know orange A-roll, purple B-roll. The very next step that I like to do is make a selects and a video timeline. In the selects is where I drop absolutely everything with a slight gap, just so you know. Beyond just color, this is what our A-roll looks like, this is what our B-roll looks like. The next thing that we do is we do a general color grade, and I've gone ahead and already done this, so I'm just going to walk you through everything that I do when I do a general color grade. This is what log footage looks like at the start. The first thing that you always do is put on a transform node. Your transform is always just going to be a transform LUT, so it goes from slog3 to rec 709 or whatever log profile you're doing to rec 709. Then you will go into balance, and this is where I got my white balance corrected. I do this mainly by pulling up my scopes, and you can see this is RGB overlay, so this is where you see red, green, blue, and if the majority of this is white, that means your white balance is good. All of these colors are balanced correctly. And then above it, you have your vector scope, And on the vector scope is this line that is your skin tone indicator. What I like to do is I crop in to my skin tones. There we go. So that's going to be his beard, and you can see that our colors right here are directly on the skin tone indicator. So it doesn't matter what the person looks like. If that line lines up with the vector scope, the skin tones are correctly graded. So that's all I do in the balance. The very next thing that I do, let me turn crop off, is I add contrast. Directly after contrast, we use a teal and orange lot. Why I do this at the start rather than the end, which is usually what I recommend. I usually recommend you edit everything and then you add a LUT or your color grade to it. I do this at the start because it just gives me a general idea of what I'm going to be doing. The first things that I do every single time I get home from a shoot is I dump all the footage into my folder structure. I make sure everything is organized, and then I do the same thing for my editing software. Inside the editing software, I'm always going to do a selects timeline and an edit timeline. And that just makes everything go as smooth as possible. All right, and that is all. This is every step I take directly after getting home from a shoot as a professional video editor. I find that this process keeps me organized. If the client needs a certain shot, I know exactly where to look, and it just helps overall get all of the edits done faster because I've done all the annoying stuff first. I always recommend annoying stuff first and then do all the easy stuff second. So now all I will have to do is make an edit, send it off, and this project will be done. And if I ever need to do another edit, I know that everything is organized exactly where I need it to be. This was probably a good amount of information, but I super appreciate you guys sticking around and learning. Hopefully you learned a little bit of something about how to organize or how a professional video editor organizes his stuff. For next week's video, I'm already filming right now, actually, while filming this video. So look forward to that one. If you guys are curious what it is like to shoot these projects or what I actually do on each project, last week I went over all of that in my first week with the FX30 review. That will be found right up here. And I'm already filming next week's video, so look forward to that one. It's going to be amazing, and I will see you guys there.